guys. I think I've got a Kermit in my throat. Sneaked out in the shop, first of 2 days of low humidity. Bloody gorgeous. And then they say it's back to the hot and sweaty. Anyway, I came out to, you can't see that, it's off frame, but the key cutting jig tool that Terry made, which is gorgeous. He wanted to put a 3/16 keyway in a pulley blank. I won't bring it closer, well you've already seen it close anyway, it'll go out of focus. So, recapping on what I've said in the clips, the keyway device has 3 variables as I see it. One is getting it locked up sufficiently in the tool post and on the compound. I have a feeling it does shift very slightly, and the second thing is the design of the cutting tool, which I thought was okay. It's very similar to one I've used before for a smaller size keyway. But making the start of the cut is difficult. It's got to be a very small cut, and even then sometimes the tool seems to jam against the beginning of the slot. So there's got to be more thought given, I think, to the tool grind, which of course is very critical. Thirdly, I think 3/16 is quite a big cutter for this device to manage in steel. I think Terry would agree, this is mystery metal. It's hard to tell what it is. I think it's fairly well behaved, but it's not soft stuff. It's not soft stuff. It's not like 12L14 or something nice and juicy like that. So I would tend to keep the keyway cutter for pulleys made of zinc or aluminum as against steel, whereas for steel I think I would probably limit myself to an 1/8 keyway, well I suppose even a 1/16, but 3/16 a bit big. So there you are. By the way, grey t-shirt again, just in case you guys wonder. The t-shirts do get washed, but I got a boatload of grey. I don't know why I bought so many grey. I suppose I didn't want anything printed on them, and for summer they're cool enough, and I've got so many that it looks like I wear the same one for about a month. Not true. Anyway, there you are, quick project. Sorry I couldn't finish it on the lathe. I did make some progress on that, but it was pretty slow. In the end well, for this purpose, sort of cheated and used the broach, but got a nice keyway cut in there anyway. Now I don't know when I can get in next. I've got several things, but circumstances may make it difficult, so if I don't come back for a bit, I should still be alive. Hopefully. I'll see you guys later, I hope. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Well, here's the next project. Here's Terry's beautiful keyway cutter, and when I did some tests on it initially, I had a tool for an 1/8, and we've got to do a 3/16, and we've got 1.5" through here to the boss. So I set that up for about 1.75" travel, but you prop that up. The bore is 5/8, which Terry said was his finished bore. That's 1/2 inch. This tool projection's a bit too much, so I've got 2 options here. I've got to make a new tool, so I got some quarter HSS here. But even if this is flattened off and this is brought as far to the side as possible. That only leaves me an 1/8, and I should be cutting to 332 depth, but it's a bit tight. I think what I might do, I haven't really decided yet, I might turn this down by a few thou, just a little bit less than the 1/2 inch. I've got that undone so I can take it out. So if I can chuck this up satisfactorily, I will just take that down a little, grind a new tool, see where we go from there. A few things to think about yet, but at least we can make a start, hopefully. Okay, I'm setting this up parallel here the best I can. You may or may not see the indicator, and I can only sweep about 1.25 inches, and that basically is within a very small amount. We're good for parallel. And the other thing I must check is centering, but I've got this new tool which was a bit of a PITA, because when you're grinding to a very tight tolerance for a width, many times in the past I've gone enthusiastically on the grinder and get close to the required size, and then suddenly find I've gone 2 thou too far. What I did here was I took it down to about 3 thou oversize, and then I basically assiduously by hand used a diamond lap and got it down to what's required. So I must get this checked for center in a minute. And that comes out the back. I didn't turn this down, and I haven't done anything to this side. I've made the tool short enough that it's out of the way in here. It's just a slight burr I must get rid of, so I've got to check centering. Right, this is a fairly quick way of centering up, and I'm just checking again. Mark 1 eyeball, center in the chuck. That's extremely close, so going to go with that. The one thing I'm a bit concerned about, because this is a 3/16 cutter, and that's presenting quite a large area to the work, and the mechanics of tool post onto the compound and then cross slide, although we've taken up the backlash, I'm not so sure there's not a slight, like there you see, I have to back off and come back to it. Can only take a fraction at a time, and then it goes tight. So you've got I've got an indicator on the other side to keep tabs on what's happening, but I do think there's a slight tendency with all the leverage involved that we're getting a slight, very, very slight movement on there, although it's locked up. I'm going to persevere, see how we go. I've tightened everything down again, and I think the problem might be just one of the assorted leverages, leverage moments. I'm taking just absolutely fractional cuts. I know with the 1/8 cutter that I've tried before, it's not too bad, but this is quite broad, It's just slow and steady. So, whilst I wipe the sweat off my brow, I'll leave you for a bit and come back when I've hopefully made more progress on it. Right, I'm going to make a change of plan here. One of the things that I'm noticing is I think the tool post, the whole combination is actually moving very, very slightly, just going a little bit out of parallel with the machine axis. You can see, I think we've made a start here, but it's a bit slow, and the combination of tendency for fractional movement plus the this piece, the 1/2 inch nose, it has a little bit of flexion in it, not much, but the hardest thing is getting the cut started. This might be down to my design on the cutting tool, which I'll show you in a minute. But we're getting there, but it's a bit slow, and I think I said earlier the 3/16 cutter is presenting a wide area to the material. We've got 1.5 inches to go through. I think something like a zinc or aluminum pulley would be a lot easier. So what I'm going to do here, let me just take the tool out a minute. This is the tool, I don't know how much you can see. There's quite a lot of back relief there, there's slight relief here. It was a devil to grind to get the exact dimension. Somebody may have a better idea as to what would best work for that. So anyway, it's a combination of factors which make it difficult. So I'm going to finish this with a broach, which is a cheat. I mean, this Keyway cutting ram is brilliant, but I think the limitations are a combination of factors: slight flex on the 1/2 inch, a tendency for the tool post not to lock quite fully, and it's done up pretty damn tight. So I would say, for my purposes, that this, with the 1/2 inch nose, for steel I think I'd want to stick to 16th or 8th for a Keyway, and going as large as 3/16, I think aluminum or a zinc would be a lot easier. I forget what Terry said this material was, if he actually knew, which I don't think he did. But it is hard to get the cut started, so we're going to switch to broach. Here we go, bit of a cheat. Well, it's a sort of cheat, isn't it? I was hoping to go right through with the Keyway cutting ram. I must check the depth of that because I'm not sure how many shims I need. Yeah, just one shim. Pretty sure that's all we need. Just a second pass should do it, I think. Just a tiny bit more, just to get it to release. It should free off. There she comes. Here we go. Let's go and get this cleaned up. I'm just manual focus on this at the moment. Yeah, so that's come out good. I'd like to have finished it in the with the Keyway RAM, but too many variables, which I'll talk about again. I had a request from a viewer. I think he's in India or somewhere, and he's using a shaper for some Keyway cutting. He said, how do you grind the tool? Well, I'm no expert on it, but I thought in case it helps him, I'll just show what I did on the tooling that I did for the my Keyway. Now this is 1/4 inch square, could be bigger. As said before, I ground almost to the width, then I finished with diamond lap. But the other thing is, if I can keep focus on this, there is a slight, well, on this fairly significant cutaway at the sides. Let me get this one out. This is the 1/8 that I made before. So the sides are relieved for clearance. There's probably more side clearance there than necessary. The profile here is not terribly critical. The main thing is to have a cutting relief, at least on this section. Alright, and then finally, you won't see it on this very much, a small amount of grind behind the cutting edge, the idea being to try and generate more of a chip, curling chip, than just a push chip, all in an attempt to get a better cut. Now if these were on a shaper, they would do quite well, because a shaper is nice and solid and you've got plenty of thrust. So, recapping, end on, slight relief either side. This is difficult. And then cutting relief behind the tip, doesn't have to be a radius like that, and then just a little bit of relief possibly on the top here. So I don't know whether that'll help this guy at all. I say I'm no expert on these. I've ground hundreds of tools for cutting, but haven't done many for Keyway cutting, well, thread cutting. I had to make some for a square thread. Let me just dig that out a minute. Now again, a problem with something so small. I think this was one of the pieces that I ground for threading square thread, like my spindle. So the front is reduced down to the width required. That's very critical. After that, depending what we can see, again I've got a radius on the bottom. Let me point to it. Radius on the bottom, but the main thing is to have just slight clearance behind the cutting point. This is probably way more necessary. And then looking from the front, on this one it's only just detectable. Just a little bit of relief either side. all you got to do is to think about what you want the tool to do and what you want it not to do, which is to catch on the sides or on the cutting edge itself, so you've got a little bit of relief. No idea whether that'll help. It's about the best I can do in a hurry for this guy. Hopefully it gives him some idea. He might use larger tooling, but that's the way I approach it. Others may have much better ideas than me. Sorry, handheld, doing this quickly. Just a graphical representation, very badly drawn. Side view. There's your cutting edge. There's your relief. Possibly dishing on the top up to the cutting edge to get a chip curl. And then front view. The sides are relieved down, so your cutting edge is the widest part, and then top view here, slight relief from front to back for clearance, so that again the widest point is cutting and not fouling on anything else. That basically is it, and that's my way, which may be wrong compared to what some folks think. Well, that was a total afterthought. This guy's written twice or three times asking about grinding a tool for cutting a keyway. And as I keep saying, I'm no expert on it, but leaving aside the accuracy needed for the width, the rest is down to clearance. Clearance both sides, and a relief behind the cutting edge. The cutting edge has to do all the work, and you don't want to catch other things. If I was using a shaper, like I used to have, you can make a keyway tool pretty robust, minimal clearance, and a shaper has a lot of thrust to it. I mean, there's no problem compared to what I was doing on the lathe. Anyway, I said earlier in the intro, thanks for watching. I'll say it again. So I'll see you again soon, hopefully. Bye guys.